think about the opportunity, you can count on one hand the number of people who are super consistent and well known in your industry and your market. And so that's the type of opportunity you still have in 2025. Like you could literally own a niche within your space today. Yeah, they want to hire somebody to just run the things, and then it just looks like canned content. How many people today are concerned with their car insurance? Like I'm rich and I'm concerned with it because it's that expensive. Like we're spending thousands of dollars and it keeps going up. I'm like, what's going on here?
What's one thing you do with your content that no one's copying, but they should be?
Oh yeah, there's a lot. So one thing that I do, and I don't know why people don't do this more often, is
welcome to another episode of the A1 Experience. I'm here with my friend, Mr. Neel Dhingra. If you guys don't know Neel is an entrepreneur, mortgage expert, and a digital content pioneer, reshaping the mortgage, real estate, I'll just say professional industry. He's the founder of Forward, a massive event that he throws every year, and a mastermind, which I'm a part of. And he's just a freaking solid dude, man, that gives the world more than he takes. So, bro, welcome.
Thank you for having me, bro. This is awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So, a couple things. In my journey, I've had a few mentors that I feel like God has placed in my life for like specific seasons. And
yeah,
dude, you've been that mentor for me the last few years.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's cool. Like we got to connect in Cole's mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2021, maybe 2022, something like that.
And I remember you go up, you're like, hey, I'm trying to host an event or like put on a massive event, blah, 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 blah. And then boom, Forward. Like,
yeah, that was 2022. So
when you
I
just
think you were
did
there.
was epic. So bro, you share a lot that you were broke until you were 37.
Yeah.
And then I want to know, or for the audience, what changed when you turned 37?
So basically, when I say broke, it's not like we were poor living on the street, but it was like, the middle class broke, you know what I mean? Which is like, you just don't, like, you have enough money to cover your expenses and stuff, but you sweat money still. Like, if something comes up, you're kind of worried about it. Or maybe you have disagreements at home about money because you don't have enough or whatever. Like, just, you're not financially free and you're more things. So I thought of myself as broke is because I was bringing enough money just to cover living, but then we weren't investing, we weren't saving, for the future. So we owned a home and that was it. And so I remember thinking at the time, like, dude, there's got to be something else because I'm working really hard, but I'm just getting by. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people get stuck there. Maybe you're making like six figures, but in today's world, like, dude, that's not even enough to invest. Yeah. That's just enough to cover your bills.
Right.
So that's my version of broke, middle class broke. And I know that I'm not putting shame on like if anybody is beneath that level and you're like, hey, I would be happy to have six figures. Great. Like there's levels, to the game. But I remember being stuck there and then I was thinking, shit, I need to do something different. And so what I realized was I was just spending all my time doing unscalable things, like just doing one-to-one selling. I didn't have a team. I didn't even have like an assistant. I didn't have any scale. And then I didn't have a personal brand. So there was just a very small circle of people that could refer me business and that was it.
Okay.
And so that just kept a ceiling for years. And, like you're always thinking like, well, I'll do something different. And then the next year goes by and it's the same shit, and pretty soon, like you could go a decade like that. So that's kind of where I got stuck. And then at that point, I just kind of started going on social, seeing some new ideas. And then I started going down the rabbit hole of like Gary Vee and content marketing and all that stuff.
Okay. It's so funny. As you were talking, I remember, you mentioned that you've had to really like seek opportunities, like they weren't just given to you kind of thing. And I remember I went to Albert Preciado's Driven event, and I remember we were hungry and we were like about to go to lunch and we're like, who's the next speaker? And then you were coming up and we're like, let's go grab a lunch.
Yeah.
And then I see you again at Cole's event, and that's where I actually listened to you. I'm like, dude, this guy's the real deal. Like out of everybody that spoke at the maybe it was I think it was Cole's event or Cody's event, and I'm like, dude, I took the most notes from this guy. And maybe it was like what connected for me was we're both in a boring-ish industry, professional services, right? Like your mortgage, I'm insurance. And so I think that's what connected. And I was like, dude, if he can make mortgage sexy, then maybe there's something I can learn from him.
Yeah. And this is the thing we just brought this up at our event too. So you take something boring and make it sexy. So like Cody Sanchez, one of the big speakers, huge personal brand, online author, entrepreneur, teacher. And she's like got millions of followers. And she's like, hey, the biggest thing I'm focused on is taking boring businesses and making them more appealing. So she gave an example of like a window cleaning company. And she's like, we bought a window cleaning company, scaled it, and we call it Pinks. And all the window cleaners wear these bright pink shirts. And like they make it super cool with the branding and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, and I was just thinking live when I was sitting there talking with her, I was like, okay, well, we did the same thing with events. Like conferences and events are boring AF. And then we turned it into this like party that's fun, energy, great impact, great learning. And that changed the game for that. And so you can do the same thing in any industry. And I feel like there's like a big opportunity in these industries because, like just think about it this way. Like, let's just say you want to be a comedian, like you do funny videos. And let's just say you want to go to Hollywood and be a comedian. It would be very difficult. Like you have stiff competition. You're like having to probably slave away in stand-ups for like years before you get your shot. And then even then you may not even make it.
Mhm.
Like the competition's up here. But let's say you want to be a funny guy and make funny videos in insurance. You can be the top person.
You don't even got to be the funniest.
You don't have to be the funniest, bro.
Yeah.
You could literally rise. So it's like there's something to be said for taking your talent and applying it to a place where there is no talent. Like there's not that many people doing it. So you're looking for opportunities. So it just so happened for me, like, hey, in mortgage, same thing like insurance, there's not that many people doing innovative things with marketing. There's not that many people teaching it. There's not that many people teaching the audience, teaching their customers, using video, using social media. So when I started doing it in 2018, even though social media was like well on its way to huge numbers, there was like barely anybody doing it. And even today, you think about the opportunity, you can count on like, one hand the number of people who are super consistent and well known in your industry and your market. And so that's the type of opportunity you still have in 2025. Like you could literally own a niche within your space today.
Insurance agents, what is every agency's highest closing lead source without fail? Personal referrals. What if I told you I could help you turbocharge the frequency in which you got personal referrals? In the last 5 years, I've written over 5,000 items and 3.5 million in premium from inbound organic sources, and it cost me nothing. How? Because posting on social media is free. If you want to turn your agency into a referral machine, then go to nicksaka.com/creators and sign up for the Insurance Creators Mastermind, where me and my team will meet with you and your team twice a month to help you with something that no other agency is doing. Imagine having the guidance, the ideas, the trends, and the strategies that actually work in converting more business for your agency. Go to nicksaka.com/creators for more. Now, back to the show. And it's not a lot of competition. When I was doing YouTube content, I was looking up PNC agents or advice on YouTube, and there's not that much competition.
No.
The standard is super low.
Yeah, bro. Like just go to YouTube
it's
one day.
Higher now, but the standard is still low.
100%. And then like just go to YouTube, for example, today. Anybody watching or listening, and just like search up a video for a topic that your customer or you would be interested in. And then sometimes what you'll find for some of those topics is the last video, it could be that no video was published, or it could be that the last video was published many years ago and it's outdated and stale. And so that's like, bro, this is the opportunity. Like you would think it'd be saturated. Well, nothing's saturated because most people don't even take it seriously. Mm-hmm. So I would just think that, go places where, the competition's lower. Yes, there's a lot of people creating content, but you can do it in a unique way. You could do it in a stale industry. There's so many different angles you could take. Yeah.
Here's a question. What's one thing you do with your content that no one's copying, but they should be?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of things. So one thing that I do, and I don't know why people don't do this more often, is they should be telling more personal things, like storytelling, and sharing more about themselves. So creating connection with the audience. I think that in 2025, there's two types of content. There's memorable content and there's forgettable content. And information is becoming just forgettable. Like you can post a lot of information and you notice the engagement's going down and it just becomes kind of disposable. Like there's so much information coming at the user. So how could you stand out? Well, what would you do to be memorable? Maybe you have a unique story. And so there's a study out there that says when information is taught in the form of a story, 65% people like remember it versus if it's just the facts, 5% of people remember it. So like one thing that's huge and it's going to be huge is storytelling. And if you go to YouTube right now or you go on social and you look up storytelling, it's like a V going up. A lot of creators want to get better at storytelling. So that's a big thing I'm focused on this year. And then another thing is being just quick with the information. So I've had huge success lately, bro. This is super tactical right now, but I've had videos blow up in the last month by just bringing the news to the audience and literally not even doing much, but here's what happened. here's what you need to know. Here's my personal take on it. Now, you do need to put your personal take on it because otherwise it's just news and there's no reason to remember you. But I remember like news hitting about a new tax bill, news hitting about something. And by the way, there's always news coming out right now that affects the industry, that affects your market. And so you could just be that person to relay it to the audience and boom, you get a lot more views.
When you're structuring news videos, are you getting the help? Because obviously you've been teaching it for a long time and you're really good at it.
Yeah.
And so when you do it, it's pretty natural. When I did content day, I learned a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I try to do it myself, I'm like, dude, how do I frame this? And I'm just like
Yeah.
stuck. So like,
I think
what
people
are you
get,
using ChatGPT? This you were doing it before ChatGPT existed, but
yeah.
how- what's
Well,
some
I mean,
advice on
you
framing it?
could use ChatGPT to help you frame it. I would, you have to get into the prompting better because if you just ask it for generic stuff, you get super generic output, and people can even tell you're robotic. You sound like AI. But I think the easiest thing to do is just to say, "Hey, did you guys see this?" Or, "Hey, this is breaking news. This just happened," and you want to do it in a conversational way, And so this just happened, and then relay the most important information to them, like break it down, and that is something that's valuable to the audience. If you think about news, say there's like a huge thing tax bill that came out, or something new that came out that affects clients. That's a lot of information for them to digest and figure out how it applies to them. And you could do all that for them in 27 seconds. You'd be like, dude, I read the 20-page thing, so you don't have to. That's a value to the audience.
Right.
So you could be like, yo, I just read this 100-page thing, and I'm gonna give you the biggest thing you need to know in 27 seconds or in 33 seconds. And then you tell them the things that matter to them and your take on them, and then ask their opinion. That's another big thing for engagement. Like,
Call to action's always, what do you guys think?
yeah, it
Yeah.
crushes because people have opinions, especially if it's on some new thing that people are divided on.
Yep.
And I don't even get into like debating politics or any of that stuff. Like, I don't even say what I'm for or against in the video sometimes. Sometimes I just lay it out there. And it's like a bomb went off in the comments, bro. The people are fighting with each other.
It's
And
always
yeah,
good.
yeah.
We make funny videos that has nothing to do with politics, and then sure enough, boom, this is
Somebody
the
gets into
left
it.
versus
And
right.
yeah, and you might, and that's just because people are kind of on edge lately, with that stuff. But you don't have to get into it. Like, if you want to stay away from politics, totally fine. But you're, as you said, people might bring it into your video anyways. And so it's cool I like hearing other people's perspective too. Like, that's the part where they call them haters or fight, like people who want to bicker with you. But sometimes it's like just an alternative perspective that I didn't think about. So I mean, it'd be like, I remember doing like a video that was breaking news at the time and it was trending. And it was about how people were financing their tickets to Coachella. So there was like a big festival and young people, like I think 2/3 of them or even 70% of them were on a payment plan to get their tickets.
Mhm.
And I was like, bro, this is crazy. Like, this is probably a sign that the economy is cooling off, like where people can't even afford their concert tickets. But then somebody in the comments wrote like, yo, bro, like imagine yourself at 17 or 18 or 21 and you were broke. You're living paycheck to paycheck and you had a way to put your payments on put your festival ticket on 4 payments with no interest. Wouldn't you do it too?
It's true.
I'm like, yeah, good point, bro. Like,
Yeah.
so sometimes it's cool to hear the opposite perspective and it just becomes a conversation. So that's the thing, like, I think about sharing more of is like, okay, here's something that's trending right now. Here's the information. What do you think about it? Now, that's different from content that you're trying to get customers from, but it just establishes you as a thought leader, someone who's in the conversation. And you know what they say, like, the more hands you shake, the more money you make.
Right.
So if I'm shaking that many hands virtually, having this many conversations, open comments, open DMs, then when I offer them something, they're going to be more apt to listen and join and attend and all that kind of stuff. So you kind of have to warm people up and keep them warm. You can't just come out of nowhere and be like, "Hey, call me for this service." Like, they don't even know you, bro.
Right. I think what's been doing really well with that is, I mean, especially being here in Vegas, is all the local things. Like, somebody made a video in the downtown Summerlin parking lot in front of that building, and they're like, right here is where Mark Wahlberg is going to be opening a gym. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
snaps, I didn't know that. So
Yeah, so you could be that breaking news. The other thing you could do is like take certain topics and break it down and give them a unique perspective. So I was thinking about this the other day. You and I were texting back and forth on why are insurance premiums so ridiculous in Las Vegas? And you immediately responded saying it's the freaking big piece is all these personal injury attorneys. And we should have been injury attorneys because we'd be freaking killing it. We'd be on a private jet is what
Yeah.
you said.
Yep.
And so I had a recent experience, bro. And I'll tell you, like, we had a minor fender bender last year in one of our vehicles. And nobody was hurt. Damage was minimal, but it was in a luxury vehicle. Okay. And
Your
afterward,
vehicle, not the one you hit.
yeah, one of our vehicles. And so they viewed it as like, oh shit, maybe these people have money. And they went to an attorney, they looked us up. And then like 6 months later, after this minor bump, police didn't even come, bro. Like it was like, here's my info. I don't even know if this is gonna go through insurance, like bump, bump, and then see you guys later. Like we'll deal with it. 6 months later, we get notified by our insurance company that they're suing us for like hundreds of thousands of dollars in pain and suffering. And I'm like, what?
They're coached to do that.
Yeah. And then they had all this stuff of like, I think the people maybe had a pre-existing condition. I don't really know what's going on, or if they have like doctors on the in cahoots with them. I don't know. But they claimed like back injury and
No, and
persistent headaches and emotional distress.
yeah,
And then they asked for like literally $500,000, and then they're like, "But we'll take 300,000." And so the insurance company is litigating this with this attorney, and who knows? Maybe they're going to pay him six figures for literally nothing.
wow.
And so that's just a crazy example. We don't have to bring up these details in a video, but like you could say that the amount of frivolous lawsuits is insane. You can't go more than a couple blocks in Las Vegas without seeing a personal injury attorney on a billboard, and this drives up the premiums.
Yeah.
Like that would be just a unique perspective. Like people maybe don't see the connection between attorney billboard every mile and my car insurance bill skyrocketing.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew that they worked together when I was watching one of my friend's stories and he's out partying. They're bringing Ace of Spades, all this stuff. And I'm like, who's this guy that he's with that he tagged, right? So I'm like, I got to click on his profile. So I click on his profile, says spinal surgeon. And I'm like, okay. So they're
Yeah.
all like in cahoots. So
Of course. But then think about so think about this. You could say something like that, and you could be like, look, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it sounds a little bit weird, like there's something going on here. And so
they
if you
show like the private jets that they own and stuff. I
yeah,
feel
just be like, why is attorneys making more than freaking athletes,
That's
bro? Like there's literally an NFL athlete making way less money than the best personal injury attorneys in Vegas. Like
Yeah.
the Raiders make less money, some of them.
yeah.
What is going on here? So anyways, I was just thinking, like, you can pop on a video and say the thing that's on everybody's mind. So think about, like, what are people frustrated with? What are they concerned with? Put your mind in the viewer's, put your thoughts into the viewer's mind. What are they thinking about? So in your case, how many people today are concerned with their car insurance premium? Like, I'm rich and I'm concerned with it because
Yeah.
it's that expensive. Like, we're spending thousands of dollars and it keeps going up. I'm like, what's going on here? I can only imagine, like, the average middle class person who's dealing with their car insurance. Like one of the guys in our office got a Tesla. He was shocked when he found out how much how much it was to insure it. So anyways, like if you said, you ever wonder why your car insurance is so freaking high? Dude, how many people would connect with that message? So I think there's this thing called the dog whistle where when you start off a video, you call out the thing that people are thinking. Like, dude, if you're thinking about buying a home in Las Vegas, you might be wondering, how the heck are you going to afford these prices with interest rates and all these things? Well, I want to show you this tool. I'm calling out the thing, like I'm meeting them where they're at. So if you're like, man, if you're wondering, do you ever wonder why your car insurance is so high? Well, check this out. Then maybe you tell them about that, and maybe you tell them about a solution to it.
Yeah.
Like, so here's what I think, guys. I think that there should be a cap and a limit on the amount of these attorneys and what they can claim and all those thoughts. I don't know all the details yet, but I just feel like something's got to happen here because this is unsustainable. What do you guys think? Let me know.
Yeah.
People fight against and for. Maybe you get a unique perspective, get a conversation going.
Yeah. It'd be nice. It'd be nice to actually just get that conversation or get the comment section arguing because
So you should make this video, bro. It'll come from this episode, and then you can be like, if it takes off, goes viral, it'll be like, that's content. That's the idea. Like,
Yeah.
it works.
I was sitting at a four-way. I was filling in my gas at an Arco, and this was like on like near the Meadows Mall, like or not Meadows Mall, but like Decatur and Charleston. And I'm filling in my gas tank, and I'm like, I see a billboard there. I see a billboard there. I look around, and there's literally 8 billboards within eyesight, and they're all lawyer billboards. And I was
Yeah, because every time somebody bumps into somebody, they're
They look
claiming a
up.
6-figure lawsuit.
Yeah.
And they get like what, 1/3 of that or more? I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe half in some cases. So this is just a racket. That's just one reason probably why insurance rates are high. What's another one? This could be a recurring series. And then I think
Technology too.
yeah,
like,
technology, all these kinds of things. And then you could also talk about driving habits and the level of accidents in your city.
distracted drivers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing. And so what are we going to do about this? Here's what I think we should do, because maybe you have an idea and you could say it. And then it'd be like, oh, Nick's a freaking thought leader. He has an idea on this.
I'm bad at that too. I'm
Yeah.
bad at sharing my thoughts on things.
But that is literally your brand. Like people would respect you for your thoughts on it. And you don't have to be right all the time.
Yeah.
But I just feel like nobody shares anything. They're just like, I'm scared if I'm wrong, or maybe they're saying no for the audience. So I have a note on my desk that says, "Don't say no for the audience." Like let them decide if a video is going to bomb. How many times you post a funny video and it flops?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
that. But you can't make a banger without a flop, right? You
Yeah.
have to do that. So same thing is true with this type of content. You can share your thoughts. Maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't, and then it's just another flop. I just think people, for some reason, when it comes to sharing their thoughts, are really scared to share their thought. And it might be something like you don't feel like you're worthy or something. I don't know. It might be like a
Right.
psychological thing. I don't know. But I just think once you get past that hurdle, whatever it is in your mental block, then it's like off to the races.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think for me, it's more like articulating it. Articulating, it's like
Yeah.
I know I have it. I know what my opinions are on it, but it's like let me articulate this and get it out of here,
Yeah. So then it's just a matter of
and then
practice.
communicating it well on in front of a camera too.
Yeah. So then it's
It's
just
like if
practice.
you're talking with the homies, then it's like comes out. For me, it's like sometimes my points are like
Too
I could
long.
have said that way quicker.
That's
You know what I
by the way, that's
mean?
everybody. That's the number one problem on social is it takes us too long to explain something. So Irwin told me this. He said the person who can communicate their thoughts and ideas in the least amount of time, the fewest words, is the one who actually understands it the most.
How do you? So you just got to understand it more.
Yeah, you got to understand it more and then just practice. So if you get like, if you're looking at the camera and you're like, man, whenever I do this, I start rambling, I get nervous, I don't sound like myself, just capture it this way. Have this conversation with somebody and be like, hey, bro, could you sit down in the studio and just ask me why car insurance premiums are so high? And I'll answer. Then I'll be like, hey, hey, Nick, why are insurance premiums skyrocketing? Dude, it's funny you ask. And then you answer the freaking question.
Right.
But like, you might feel more comfortable and just answer it there.
Right.
And then you can clean it up and edit. Like, that's a cool part about, video editing is like, I don't know if you guys ever use Descript or any of these new editing tools. You can literally put your video in there. It gives you the whole written transcript of your video. And then if you can delete text, like if you can play in Microsoft Word, you're a video editor because you can just delete the parts you don't want and it takes it out of the video.
Mm-hmm.
So when you rambled on and said something that wasn't relevant or you want to skip ahead, just delete the text from the transcript and boom, the video edits in real time. It takes like seconds. So there's so many different tools and ways you can do this, but the key is to just practice more and try more. You need to take more swings.
Yeah. I've got a question. It is, if people are getting views, but they're not getting business, what is missing from their content?
So the biggest reason why people don't get clients from their content is because they don't ask. They're just waiting for like lightning to strike. So you make a bunch of videos and you're like, dude, my DM should be full of money. And then you check and it's like 2 hookers and some spam, or whatever. Like, you're like, dang, bro. Yeah, it's like, where's all the fame, So what I found is there are people who will reach out to you. It's not like you don't get anything. People will be like, hey, love your videos. And then you post like something one day about insurance, like, hey, I'd love to connect with you. I have a client for you. My sister needs insurance, whatever. So it does happen. But what I found is when the market gets slower, it doesn't happen enough to like really move the needle for your business, especially if you don't have a lot of followers. So the better thing to do is ask, but people ask in the wrong way. So they're asking for the end goal. What you want to do is ask for 1 step before that goal or 2 steps before that goal. So let's just say your end goal is to get a client to do an application, to get a quote. That's what you want. What would be 1 step before that? Probably like a conversation or some information. What would be 1 step before that might be just them getting to know the process or learning that there could be an opportunity to save, whatever that is. And so what you want to do, and the smartest marketers understand it, is they're asking for that thing, not the end goal. So the best marketers on social media, the ones that make the most money, are looking for signal, not sales.
First thing that came up is like, did your rates go up recently? Like,
yeah,
that's not asking them, but it's like, did your rates go up? Have you seen a rate increase? And
yeah, but what if you did something like this? Like, do you ever wonder if you're paying too much for car insurance or you're paying too much for home insurance? Well, I actually created a free resource that gives you a comparison on this. And so what you want to do is just like go here, you can fill in your information, and you can type in how much you pay and what city and state you live in, and it will tell you whether you're under or over the median.
That might be a bad idea.
And then that's a lead capture.
Yeah.
So now you've got the signal that someone thinks their insurance is too high. Now you can market to that person. They've given you permission to call them, email them, follow up with them.
Yeah.
And like, so if you said, hey, I can save you money on your insurance, call me. There's certain people that will reach out to you. But if you're like, hey, I made a free resource that tells you if you're overpaying, by the way, this has saved people thousands of dollars. it takes you literally 30 seconds to find out, I would do it because you might go here and like you can cover this expense with this just by checking this out. So check it out when you have time. And then they're going to go to the free resource. They're going to learn about the free thing.
Right.
And it doesn't involve you. It's just something that they can do on their own.
Something I've always done is is create a bunch of content that has nothing to do with asking for business, but then I just throw in my call to action, like a weekly cadence of like,
Yeah.
by the way, hit me up for insurance, hit me up for insurance. You see it on my little notes, you see it on my stories. And so like
Yeah.
I just pepper those in, but the majority of my content, I try to do it, you teach, which is
Give value.
give
Yeah.
value, personal stories and all that. And so like that works for me. But I haven't necessarily mastered the asking in a certain way and providing the
Yeah.
guide. And like that's
So that's
worked for me. But
yeah, that's the part where you would get like a windfall because nobody does it. So if you're at a basic level, just ask more. But every post can't be an ask. So you made a great point. Like I post 10 posts, 2 or 3 of them might be asks, but the rest of them are just value connecting with the audience, being social on social media. So that's fine. That's one way. That's a basic way. And even that would get you more business. I always tell people in mortgage and real estate, I'm like, the number one thing you could do just to move the needle quick is just to let people know you're available this weekend. Like on every Friday, just be like, hey guys, want to let you know I'm available. Like if you want to run numbers on a property, if you want to explore your options, if you see a property, you want to see what your payment would be, just hit me up. I'm available. Seriously, anytime. Text me, shoot me a message. And then just letting them know that you're not bothering me. Like that's just a simple call to action. That's direct. You're not gonna get everybody because it's like they have to be right place, right time. But dude, if you don't ask, you're not gonna get. So that's worth doing. The other thing that I've seen from a direct ask that works the best is a success story. So this is the easiest way people can do this. We all have clients that we've helped get something, like they've gotten a great result with us. And those are success stories, right? So what you want to do is tell them about that, show them the success. Be like, okay, my client just purchased this property, or you're looking at how much they saved, put the number on a spreadsheet, put it on a sheet of paper, whatever, and be like, I just saved my client this much money, or they got this success story. And now here's the thing, like if you are looking at this or you're considering this, check it out. Like here's the information. And so when you do a success story and then you ask afterwards, the chances of somebody reaching out go way up because they can see themselves in that person, so it's more relatable. So that's a direct ask that works way better than just coming out of the blue.
And
Yeah. Make it about the people, not about you.
I have this thing called a gratitude post where like once a quarter, just you're not asking for business, but you're just like, I just want to say thank you to everybody that supported me, everyone that's
Oh yeah.
considered me in the thought of insurance, because I always felt like it did two things. It targeted those that haven't hit you up for a quote,
Yeah.
and you're also highlighting the people that have. And so it's kind of this like guilt, but also shout out kind of dynamic.
And then the other part that people just ignore is in a local business, the biggest lift you'll get from social can sometimes be just converting your clients. So say, for example, you and I connect through whatever, like we just meet somewhere or it's a friend of a friend and you're watching my videos, I'm watching your videos. And then now we're just connected on social. Well, if you're posting consistently and you're sharing valuable content about what you do and how you help people, then I'm going to be like more apt to do business with you. And then if you reach out to me or DM me or follow up on in some way with some sort of conversion, I have a way higher chance of converting at that point. So those are like not cold leads, they're like lukewarm or warm leads. So you use social to warm up your leads, but then you still need to do the conversion. Right. So that's the part, like when people say I'm not getting business, they're not doing anything to convert. They're not even asking. Like if I wanted to, like you get a lot of business from mortgage people, right? Or some business. So let's just say you and I became friends on Instagram. We're not really connected, but like we follow each other. Maybe I left a comment on a video. Maybe you left a comment on my video. Maybe you go through stories of people you're trying to make relationships with and you just engage with them. Like you literally just reply to someone's Instagram story or you leave a comment. Maybe they don't get a lot of comments, so it stands out. Now, all of a sudden, if you reached out to me like, hey, bro, you want to go grab lunch? We can just talk shop, whatever. Dude, I'm way open to it because it's not cold. So does Instagram do the closing for you? No, but it made this whole thing possible. Yeah. So I think people just aren't closing that circle. They're getting it all the way there. And then they're like, oh, I would actually be required to do some work to finish this and make the money. And they're like, yeah, I'll just lay home and watch Netflix, But that would be the step that's everyone's missing.
Yep. And that's like manual hard labor. And so most people don't.
Well, it's like you're supposed to be doing that shit anyways. And I was like, hey, if it would just make everything easier, then like, let's just say I gave you a way that would make people not reject you. Like 90% of the people would say yes. Wouldn't that be a lot easier in sales?
Yeah.
Like, so, but you still need to make the call and make the meeting. That's the part that I think people just skip.
Yep. So, what do you say to people who expect content to work overnight, or they expect like a certain ROI? Because I know in my industry, it's like, well, I posted a couple times and I didn't see
Yeah.
it. Uh, what What do you say to those people, or what are the expectations that you kind of set? Do you tell people it's going to take 3 months
Yeah.
of consistency, or
Well, I would just say this: the things that have the biggest upside, the most money, the most rewards, are things that take long, like the things that take the longest. So, like, think about anything.
yeah,
Like, if you're like, hey, if it's quick money, bro, it's like, yeah, you can get lucky sometimes. I'm not saying that you can't get results in 90 days, but with personal brand and content, the biggest benefits are happening like 9 months ahead, 10 months, 18 months, 3 years in the game when everybody's quit and you're the only dude left. Like, then it's the doors just start opening up. Like, even you talked about, hey, I'm speaking on all these stages, I'm doing all this stuff. I didn't even think that was possible 2, 3 years ago. Why? Because you just stuck with it. How many people did we see come and go over the years? You
yeah,
see them for like 3 months, you never see them again,
hmm,
right? They're just like come and go like fads. And so if there's something to be said for just sticking with it longer than other people, and so the only way you can do that is you have to find something that you enjoy about the process. So I know you have fun making some of the funny videos. You enjoyed the conversation, the engagement. So you have to like get to that place. Like I actually don't mind making a video.
yeah,
Someone's like, "Hey, dude, how do you find time to make the videos?" And I'm like, "I don't know. How do you have time to brush your teeth?" Like it's not that hard if it's just part of your process.
yeah. And
You
if you
know,
enjoy, I think that's because I don't think I enjoy making the content, but I think when
you enjoy the results.
I enjoy that when people are
Yeah.
laughing and they're like, "This is hilarious," and I'm like, "Fuck yeah,"
Yeah. Well, it makes you feel
So
like, just be honest, it makes you feel good. Like
yeah,
everybody likes good feedback.
yeah,
When you make something and someone pats you on the back and said, "Nice
it
job." That's what the
works.
heart button is,
Yeah,
So it's like we're chasing that feedback loop. And so if you make better content, you get better feedback and then you kind of chase that going. So like, yeah, I think people say you should enjoy the process, but it's okay to say like, yeah, I enjoy the benefits of this. Because I think a lot of people will watch and say, well, I'm not really passionate about starting a podcast or starting content or shooting more videos. But it's not that you get motivated. It's like you need to start doing it. And then
yeah,
as you get results, the results and the feedback motivates you to do even more.
right.
I'm not motivated and to go to the gym, but like when I'm there and I'm already doing it, I'm like, okay, and I'm
Yep.
motivated.
Uh, what's more important, posting daily or posting intentionally?
I think more intentionally. I say daily is good if you have a plan because it'll get you through a lot of the period of like, okay, I'm testing this out. What's going to work? What's not going to work? I need to find my voice. So once you're past that, I think then it's more about being
Intentional.
intentional.
Okay.
But in the beginning, like a challenge works really well. Like, hey, I'm going to post every day for 30 days, or I'm going to post 10 days. Like, we have so many people in our group who got to where they're at now in content because they took a 10-day challenge. They're like, okay, I haven't been posting. I suck at video. I'm going to make a piece of content every day for 10 days. And then they notice by the 10th day, they hate the video less. They're like, dude, I could post this. This is actually good. Because the repetition, the reps, you get a little bit quicker with it.
Okay. What's the worst advice being pushed about content creation right now?
Worst advice. Um, I don't know. Like there's just different. I think the worst advice is thinking that one thing is going to work that worked for somebody else is going to work for you. Have you ever seen this where maybe somebody posted something that's crushing and they're like, "Here, I'm going to give you the blueprint," and then you try and it doesn't work because maybe there's things in the way they said it, their audience type. There's so much nuance to each strategy that there's no like one size fits all approach. There's definitely tactics that you can use, and we give them to people all the time, and they're proven and they work. But then at the end of the day, you kind of have to find out what works for you. And so
Gotcha.
that's the approach I would take.
Okay. What how important is in-person connection when growing your brand and growing your business? Is it possible to succeed without in-person stuff?
I think you can, like in certain industries, you can just do everything online or through Zoom. But I found that in a world where everything is shifted to online and AI and all this stuff, like the in-person things, people actually crave. They actually want good in-person experiences. And then also, I've just noticed I don't like doing in person a lot of times. Like I would like if somebody's like, "Hey, come to this networking thing or go here," I would get uncomfortable. I'm an introvert, but then when I go to those things, I get the most growth, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, I'm glad I showed up." I'm glad I had those conversations because it leads to more connections, more opportunities coming your way. So there's just certain things where like if you're in the room, you get the benefit, and if you're not, you're kind of left behind.
Yeah.
And so that only happens in person. You
Yeah.
can't replicate that on Zoom, on social media. Like we can all connect with people, but at some point you have to move it offline.
Yeah.
So I think it's a huge thing that people ignore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in person it just creates a different experience. Like during COVID, we saw like how miserable that time frame
For
was,
sure. Yeah.
and people were like eager for in person interaction.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, how should every professional be using AI right now? What are the top 3 apps or programs that like are non-negotiable?
So obviously, everybody watching or listening is probably using ChatGPT. I think the thing that they need to do better is make better prompts, go back and forth with it. One simple thing that you could do to get way better results from AI is just simply ask it to ask you questions. So when you prompt it and you ask it to help you with something, say, before you give me the results, what questions do you have? And it will start going back and forth with you. And then the output you get is like 10x better. So it's just a small step, takes you an extra 5 minutes or less, and people skip that, so they get generic response. So that's one thing. The other thing that works really well from an AI perspective, there's so many AI tools right now, it's insane.
Yeah.
We could probably talk a whole episode on it, but just from the basic level, using Claude for creative writing. So like scripts and content and all that kind of stuff, I found that Claude is way better at copywriting than ChatGPT. So I don't know what it is about that model, but it's just a little bit better with the creativity part. So if you're wanting to like for example, you want to tell a story like you said, and it's just too long, you ramble on, just word vomit the whole thing into the app.
My wife is using it to respond to people now. It's like
Yeah,
the funniest.
it's getting tough because like people are relying on it so much that you forget how to do it on your own. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like you're like, oh, I'm gonna like, how do I reply to this email? And you put it in there and it gives it to you, and then you make the tweaks and you send it, and you start using it. And then one day it's down, and you're like, I can't speak anymore. Like you can't even type. So
Let me get back to you.
yeah, so you can't do that like at that level. But what I found is if you already have the information, you can use AI to make it better. But like if you don't have it, so like here's the thing: AI tools make a dumb person like get to average. You know what I mean? Maybe, and then like it'll only keep you there if you don't go beyond a certain level. But then for someone who's kind of smart but just needs to increase their output or get to the next level, that's where you can really have a big shift using AI. So then like if your writing's decent, AI could even make it way better, like more hard hitting, more connecting with the audience, all that kind of stuff. So you still want to get better at the thing, but then you can use AI to just do more of the thing. So that's what I think Claude can help people with. And then there's a bunch of tools like, for making presentations or putting together apps or different things. Like it's just endless.
I feel like everything is kind of implemented it by now. Like if you use the captions app, there's AI
Yeah, you can use
integrated,
AI B roll.
Google
Yeah.
integrated into it. So
And it's going to get crazier. So video creation tools are getting wild. Like, I don't know if you've seen, like Google has a new engine called VO, and it's like super realistic. Like you can make quick 8-second videos of anything just with the prompt, and it looks like movie quality, like 4K. Like it's just insane. So
you can still tell it's a little bit AI,
a little bit,
but
yeah. But
scary for what it might
yeah,
be
and
able
that's
to bring
just
in the
quick,
future.
like free or very cheap. So imagine like if you actually get into some of the pro tools or how it's going to be a year from now, it's going to be pretty wild.
Mm.
But it's wild how you can use these tools to create unique ads and info for your content strategy. So we recently did videos for our event, and we used AI to like place me in certain scenarios.
It was like the coolest video. Like
Yeah,
I went up to your videographer Eric, and afterwards I was like, bro, like even like the music, like how he like, and not to go sidetrack there,
yeah.
but
No, but it's cool. It makes it like you can, if you want to tell a story, and you're like, well, wouldn't it be cool if I was in a freaking DeLorean traveling through time? Like, well, I guess you could just get it through AI, like you can make that video now happen. Whereas a few years ago, you'd have to like rent a movie's crew and like spend tens of thousands of dollars. Now you can get it for literally like almost free, which is wild. You just have to know how to prompt it. So there's this tools you can use for that. I don't know if like people need creative ways to do ads. One thing that I think people should use on the AI content front is there's a site called 11 Labs. And so 11 Labs lets you make custom voices. You can bring in voices. They have a library of them that you can use, and you can use these for voiceover content. So we recently ran ads for a particular service that we were doing, and the number one performing ad was a 11 Labs voiceover. So I
Wow.
put B-roll, which is just video image of me doing things. And then over that, we overlaid the voiceover. And it just told a quick story
And
of
that's
like,
performing better than one of your own voiceover?
yes.
Wow.
So it's weird. Like there's certain
Does he have an
voices.
accent?
No, it was
Do you
just
have to
like
like give him a British
it's
accent
like
or
when people say you have a voice, for radio or like that broadcast quality. I don't have that voice, but you can get it on 11 Labs, like they'll just give it to you. You type in what you want to say. There's accents, there's non-accents, there's all kinds of different ones. If you want to make a version of a celebrity voice, you can as well.
Morgan
So,
Freeman?
yeah,
Gonna just
that'd be
narrate
great.
my life.
Bro, just make your version of Morgan Freeman's and do a voiceover ad. It will crush. It's like it's a cheat code. Because it's like people will be like wondering, what is this? Or like it kind of sounds like that actor. And there's for certain iconic voices. Now you can't steal someone's voice, but you can make your version of it, which is like a little tweak. And they even say like you can't use like somebody else's voice. There's all kinds of protection in there now. But even the ones that come just generic out of the box, they're great.
Wow.
So I've been using that, and certain voices just cut through the noise. You've probably seen them on social. There's been bunch of them that have been over the years.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, so like, go check out 11 Labs. That's another great tool.
Okay. Question I have is for people that want to be low key but still want to grow their brand or business using social media, is that possible?
They don't want to do it.
Like people just want to be low key, but they want to use social media to grow their business.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that possible to build a personal brand but to still be low key?
I just think you're at a disadvantage because you're not going to share much, and maybe you don't post as often. But like, let's just say you want to just share very little about one specific topic. You could. That's better than nothing. So I know people that share nothing personally, but they're super smart and they can talk about one topic. That can work.
True.
But you got to be really good at it. So if you're not world class at something, and you just have unique perspective to share, and you have unique stories, and you can connect with the audience, then it'd be better to just kind of like start sharing more. So you're kind of at a disadvantage if you're like, dude, I don't want to share much. I just want to be a private person. But like your job requires you to be public. So maybe you should have picked a different job. Like someone's like, hey, I'm not comfortable putting myself out there. I'm like, you're in a job that literally requires you to know the most people and shake the most hands, and you don't like people. So maybe you just picked the wrong career.
Maybe you got to go be a software engineer or something.
Yeah, yeah, go hide somewhere. And that's cool too. You could be like, you don't have to lie about it. But I think you kind of have to get real with like your job was to
Yeah.
actually put yourself out there, and you don't want to put yourself out there. That's kind of like opposing thoughts here.
Hmm.
Same thing with like calls. Like people don't want to make calls. Well, they probably aren't good at them. So maybe that's the first step is to like get good at them and be humble and like learn from other people, educate yourself, get better practice, role play, all that kind of stuff. And then maybe you'd want to do it. But if you still hate making the calls after doing that, then you got to figure something else out. Maybe you're really good at the ops part and you could add value there. Like
Mhm.
you just find your niche and then go in.
Yeah. Yeah. I come across some people that they want to grow their business using social media, but it's like, I just want to have nothing a part of it. And so it's like,
Yeah, they want to hire somebody just run the things, and then it just looks like canned content. We have like people in our industry that come to us to get better, and they're like, "I hired this company," and it's just like Canva post infographics,
yep.
and then maybe some like generic stuff, and it's like dead.
It's like Merry Christmas from the sake agencies.
Yeah, I think you're better off with nothing at that point. Like I would say, it's better than nothing. That's actually worse than nothing. Like if you have a Saka like
Memorial Day.
yeah, yeah, it's just like we signed up for this one thing at the mortgage company at one point where the company bought this marketing service and everyone got a new CRM. And I didn't know this, but it came with like these canned marketing campaigns that were turned on. So it automatically started emailing our clients and sending them this type of stuff. My clients started unsubscribing from me.
Damn.
Because it was just like
That
canned,
bad.
it was spam basically.
Yeah. Yeah. My company was the same thing. It was like 5 ways to change your tire in this holiday season. Like, what?
Yeah.
Or like how to avoid a fire in your house. Just like little things.
Yeah.
that
And like some of them
offer-
might be decent, but then you would need to make it more personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the key is it's like make it your own. I haven't really found a true way to automate some of the stuff unless, we can get there with AI using your voice and making it more custom.
Yeah.
So it'll get there eventually where you could be a little more hands off, but you still have to be part of the process.
Okay. You've worked with hold on. What's the most underrated thing that you do on social media that compounds over time?
Underrated thing, I would say. So I see this is the this I just went over today actually. So one of the most underrated strategies is to share a thought of the day in written format every day. You could use it on your Instagram story. So I don't know if you noticed, but like I'll share a tweet of just a thought I have and I'll put it as an Instagram story. And I've been doing this every day for years. Like I might have taken 3, 4 days off or something. One time I was sick, one time something happened, but like for the most part, I share something every single day in there. So what I do is I just go to Twitter and I write my thoughts on X topic. So you just gather your thoughts, start writing them.
You just
And
gathering them. Like, are you like in the zone? You're like, all right, what are the thoughts? Or did they
yeah,
just
so maybe you
you're
need
out
to
and about in your day, and you're like, ooh,
I think yeah, you start to recognize more the more you do it. So if you're not creative in the moment, you actually have to put yourself in the zone. So for me, maybe put on some music, put some headphones on, or go for a walk, whatever. Start thinking of the ideas, and so you could start sharing tips. What do you stand for? Beliefs, some of your isms. Like what are your isms? Like you would the best advice you would give people. What would you want to teach your kids about money? What would you want to teach your kids about life? Whatever. Start putting those things down and then formatting them as written thoughts, short written thoughts. Again, shorter the better because people can read them. And then what I found is if you just share these on your social, sometimes and many times they'll perform better than talking. So like if I could tell you something in 60 seconds, which is a long time, if I could do the same thing in one paragraph of writing, that might get
how do you know if
10x
it's
more engagement.
performing? You're talking about like just the hearts, or
Yeah, or views. Like on
views?
Instagram stories, it would be views.
Okay.
Hearts on threads or on X. Those are like how you can view. It gives you view count as well on there.
Okay.
And then so that would be like if it's performing. The other thing you can test is you can occasionally post these as reels. So we'll put a written thought over an image, or written thought just on its own, black background, and that will perform as a video, a static image as like a 4 or 5 second video. And
Mm.
so you kind of take your best stuff. The only way again to do this is to do a bunch of them and see which ones work better. And when I say work better, it's just like slightly better. So maybe you get like double the likes or double the views on one video, I'm on one written thought, then that would be the one you'd want to lean on, for an actual video reel, things like that.
Got it. I like that you test a lot of different things. You've
Yeah.
tried. I've seen you lead with humor sometimes. I love when you lead with humor because I'm starting to see even like Hormozy just add more funny into
Yeah.
his stuff, and
It's
and
more
it
relatable.
makes you like human,
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I think that's a big thing. And then it's also a signal that this is real content because AI can't do some of that stuff.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
AI is not going to connect with the audience in that way or adjust on the fly. That's why I love in-person stuff because you're not, unless we get to holograms eventually, but like, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't replicate somebody in person,
Mhm.
like that's not going to work.
Like the Tupac hologram at
Yeah.
Coachella a couple years back.
Yeah. So that's not, we're not there yet for industry events. So that's a big differentiator right now. If you can actually communicate and people listen, that's huge. You've seen it too. Like when you speak live, it's a big connection you get with the people.
Yeah.
I mean, they respect you way more after that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Heck, you even you just shouted me out at I was just telling these guys that you shouted me out at forward, and like instantaneously just off that little slide in my little handle, I'm like 40 followers just from the
Yeah.
audience. Right? Like,
It's quick. And it's
sweet.
like, and then in the world where we're always going viral and stuff, it's like, bro, it's crazy to think like, hey, sometimes it's just the right people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you don't need all the followers, but if not all followers are created equal. Not all audiences are created equal. I've seen people with 1 million followers where they can't get any conversion, and I've seen a guy with 1,000 followers who's crushing it. So it's kind of like the quality of the audience is more important than the quantity.
Hmm. Okay. So just a few more questions. What's a mistake that you made early on with your content that cost you a bunch of time or money?
So one of the things I did early on was taking all the different strategies and then doing it when I didn't like it wasn't for me at all. Like I didn't have any passion in it at all. So I'll give you an example. I went to one of these conferences and they told me to make local business videos. They said this guy had blown up his brand going to the local businesses, and I was in Reno at the time, like highlighting these like the local bar and this restaurant and this freaking pub or whatever. And then I don't care, bro. Like I'm not a foodie. I'm not into that stuff. And so I remember making these videos, not really enjoying the process, not getting much results from it because I wasn't even into it. And then just wasting a year doing that.
Hmm.
Like it didn't even work for me.
Just like high quality YouTube
Yeah.
interview style, or
Yeah. Like we made a bunch of them and they were just worthless at the end of the day. Like, I don't even know what I got other than I won't say worthless because I got more skilled at talking on camera, interviewing. So like there was some benefit for sure, but I didn't get much business benefit.
Gotcha.
So it's like you kind of have to find where you. So I'm more of a nerd, so I love sharing information and coming up with new ways to share information. So that was my thing. Then I loved writing more, so then I started getting into that more. And then maybe I started to get comfortable sharing sense of humor. Like so, then you start sharing more. So you kind of have to find your thing rather than just doing something because somebody told you it's going to work.
Right. Yep. That way your heart's in it.
Yeah, because it's not sustainable otherwise. And the only way this really works is if you stick with it.
Hmm.
Like it's not a game where you just do it for 90 days and then quit. That's probably like on 92 day 92 you would have got your X opportunity and you quit right beforehand. So you kind of just have to keep doing it, and the only way to keep doing it is to find some part of the process that you enjoy.
Talk about how in the last couple of years, at least since I've known you, like you keep setting the bar higher and higher for everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
With that, how have you managed? Like, I remember texting you one time on the side, and I'm just like, bro, I'm going crazy. Like balancing everything out, it's like really, really hard.
Yeah.
How have you balanced? And I hate the word balance, right? But how have you balanced taking things to the next level year after year with family
Yeah.
and making sure that the home life is good?
Yeah, I think the thing that people don't understand is your ability or capacity to do things and handle more things is not stuck. It's like elastic. You can grow, right? You get stronger. And so something that used to take me a lot of time, make me super stressed, can now be done on the fly. And so that's the thing that people don't get. Like a lot of times, like how would you manage social plus this? Well, sometimes you'll get to a point where the thing becomes almost easy. It's never like super easy where it's just hands off. And I won't lie and say like things are super automated. We still have to manually do some of the things, but it just becomes like less of a lift. And so I used to just try and do all the things and then get super spread thin and fail. And then you're kind of in a bad spot. But what changed the game for me is getting better and doing these in sprints. So like, let's just say I want to do 7 different things. Well, what's the one thing I would pick that's most important right now? Or what's the one thing that would kind of make the other 6 easier? What if I just did a 90-day or a 6-month sprint on that to get better at that and just forget about the other items for now? That would make everything else easier in the future. You know what I mean? So then I would do that. And then before adding the next thing, I've got that thing down to where it becomes almost effortless. Then add the next thing. So right now, like a couple of years ago, if you're like, hey, I'd like you to speak somewhere or do this thing, I would have to spend a lot of time preparing, putting together frameworks, practicing, stressing out, taking my eye off the ball at work. And so there's all this collateral damage from just that one ask. Versus now, someone could be like, hey, dude, could you come do this? And I could just do it because I have a bunch of things in my head to share, or I could use a presentation that I've already perfected, or whatever. We could do Q&A, and you're going to perform. So that thing became, it's not super easy, but it's a lot easier than it was years ago. So that allows me to do more of that thing and add more without getting stressed and taking up so much time.
Gotcha.
So your prep time goes down. You should still prepare. And the danger with this is like sometimes you think you can do stuff that you can't, So you're like, oh, I've got that handled. And then you realize you can't. But the easy part is the thing that gets easier is your ability to add more things without taking up more time.
Gotcha.
And then the other part is just hiring more people.
Yep.
Like you need help.
Totally a random question that just popped in my head. What's your screen time? Your daily average screen time?
I don't even know. It's probably a lot because I'll check the apps, I'll research. I don't know if anybody's ever scrolling social media. If you're a creator or in business, you should not just be doom scrolling. You should be researching. And I don't know if you do this, but like you're looking at what's working. Obviously, you enjoy some of the content too. You like it, you engage with it. You're networking with people, and you're also researching. Hey, how could I apply this to my content? This looks good, or this sounded good. Let me apply this to mine, and then you can kind of like save those videos. The problem for me is a lot of people use scroll time to like decompress at night. If I go on at nighttime like to do this, I'm going into research mode and all these things start going off in my head, then I can't sleep. So like I need to not be on social before, because then it messes me up. Like I can't fall asleep till midnight.
Gotcha. Okay. And the last question I have for you, bro, is the definition of A1 is of the highest standards. And so I just want to know 3 standards that you live your life by.
So I would say, start before you're ready is a big thing for me. Like just make a commitment and do it. Like set the date is a big one for me. If you're planning on launching something, just set the date, make a public promise, and do it. A lot of us are really good at like letting ourselves down, but if you make a promise to the public, you show up. So if you're like been putting something off, just go online, make a video and saying by this date I'm going to do it.
Figure it out.
Yeah, and watch how you figure it out. Like build the plane as you go, And so that's one thing I think a huge thing for me. And like another thing is to keep track of like your best ideas in some sort of in some sort of organized way. So for me, it's like notes app. Keep track of like your best ideas. So sometimes people will say like, "What's the biggest thing that you want to talk about?" Or like, "What's a framework you teach?" I can just refer back to that things to teach or stories to tell document, and I'll see the things in there. And so like set up the conditions for success essentially. So keep track of your ideas. I don't know if you ever had an idea and then all of a sudden like a week later or even the next day you're like, what was that idea? It was fire. It was so good and I don't remember what the freak it was.
Or you
But
wrote it down. You're just like, it was okay.
yeah,
Right.
but you got to write it down to be able to evaluate. So I think some of the best ideas I've had came from this process. So like you think about raising the bar, A1. Well, how do you do new and innovative things? You have to like come up with time, like come up with ideas, the new things, and then try them. And then, yeah, you're right. Sometimes you write down, you're like, dude, that's terrible. I'm not doing that one. But here's another good one I'm going to try. And so we just try more things. You shoot more shots, you get more benefit. And then I think the last thing is, in terms of networking is, I know it's super cliche, but your network is your net worth. But I've had the door open for me by so many people who I've just got to connect with over the years. It's insane. It's like a cheat code for business and life. Like if I was trying to get a hold of somebody for years, literally years, and then I meet the right person and they just send a text and it's done, and like there weren't 20 seconds, I'm like, bro, that's like the ultimate cheat code. So investing in relationships and like how you can really help each other and not have like an agenda right away, but like just investing in the right relationships, and then in those times like where you need a contact or you need help, those people will help you out. It's like a huge cheap. It's like the fast pass, I guess, for moving up.
Yeah, and you've done a lot. You've done a lot of investing into a lot of different people
Yeah,
and
groups.
getting
Yeah,
into the rooms and all. I think that I'm like it's like kind of I'm like always nervous about where or like who's real deal and like
yeah.
who should I
Well, I
invest
think we've
with.
all been like burned a little bit. Sometime maybe you bought something and didn't live up to the standard, or you found out that the group or person you invested in wasn't quite like
They're on
the
like their
guy.
local news, like frauding people and
Yeah, that could be
stuff.
the worst example. But yeah, that shit happens. I've done that before, and so you kind of like have to take the good with the bad. I've had a bunch that didn't work out and didn't pay off, but then I've had some that paid off incredibly well.
Got it.
And so I think today you have to be more selective for sure, because you need to do your due diligence and trust your gut on some of the stuff. So there's two things I would say on this topic. I'm glad you brought it up. Is like trust your gut is great advice when you're like vetting somebody or like what do you feel about this opportunity, but it's also bad advice because my gut says to like stay small sometimes. Like don't go to the thing, don't put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. So like if I trust my gut all the time, I'd sit on the couch and not do anything some days.
Right.
Like, well, you got to put yourself out there. So I think people confuse that. It's like, yeah, trust your gut with certain things, but on other things, you almost have to ignore what you're being like, what your body or your inner thoughts are telling you, and just go for the opportunity.
Mm, okay. Well, dude, man, I just want to acknowledge you. Thanks for the impact that you've made on me
Yeah, man.
and all the things that you've helped me with. But not only that, just all the people, man. Like I said, I really mean that. When you give a lot more than you take, it's like evident. You ask anybody in the forward mastermind, it's like why are you here? It's like Neil, man, like just Neil and the vibe and everything.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah. You're
And
welcome,
how can
bro.
people connect with you on
So
all
just shoot me
platforms?
a DM on Instagram at Neil Home. I go through all of them, all the spam ones too. But yeah, I go through every week and connect with so many great people. I actually use it to network. So would love to get a message and just connect with more people.
Awesome. Thank you so much, bro.
Thanks,
Appreciate you.
man.